Hello, I am on Amaza, another video. Didn't even plan that I'd be this consistent, but here I am. I'm gonna grab my water, my Buxton, because we're in for a fun one. Today we'll be speaking about stories and harnessing the art of story listening, reading / telling. Right. So, one of my favorite influences at the moment is Jordan Peterson. Contrarian figure, I know. It's particularly his work on stories, the notion that we live in stories. I'm not going to go into it because it's quite complex, and he's a smart man, and I'd have to get my glasses out and my notepad and my pen. But when I'm going to do that, I am going to come with this notion of we all live in stories. The idea is that, have you ever had that feeling where you've met someone completely new, but you feel like you've met them before, you know them? They probably reflect a part of your story, a relationship that you've had before. Perhaps it might be a maternal relationship, your paternal relationship, or they might remind you of a friend. Right. So it's like we live out the stories that have influenced us. So for example, popular example, a lot of us are scared of flipping, heartbreak, failed marriages because of what we see in the media. We are being communicated to via music videos, stories, going shopping, in the shopping aisle. We're being communicated to drink some wine with our steak just by walking down the meat aisle, which just happens to have, alcohol there. So, yeah. Right, if we're all living in stories, we've got to ask who are the authors. Right. For many of us, that's our parents, primarily. They teach us behaviours, how to communicate with the world, how to perceive the world. And it gets to a point where you start to emerge into adulthood, and it's like, if you're woke, you'll be like, nah. My parents only showed me a fraction of this. They showed me, in Janae's lyrics, she's like, go figure, you were the trigger. You hold me to an obstructive view when you knew the picture was bigger. Yeah. So, we can have this obstructive view of the world based on our household and what we've grown up in. And we get there and we're like, into actual world, real world. For me, I went going to university. I was like, wait, not everyone's living for Jesus and God, and things aren't as black and white as I was taught them to be. Obviously, that's a gross overcomplication of my story. But my story was that I realised there were so many other stories, and I'd been living out this kind of very dreadful, fucking miserable story, that I had to be the perfect wife, that if I was not a virgin until marriage, I am broken. Yeah, that story was tainted by misery, judgment, condemnation for just simply having normal sexual desires. But anyway, we digress. I'm getting to a point in life where I'm like, here's a flipping pen and here's a notebook. This is my story, bitches. You don't get to write mine no more. Whether you relate to me by blood, whether you feel entitled to me because you've known me for a long time, or whether you think you know me, or whether you think you know what's best for me. Don't get it wrong, I'm not anti-advice, but I am pro-advice when it's warranted, One of my boundaries I feel like I have to implement is don't give me advice unless I ask, because I know I'm the author of my life. I know what the plot is. I know what I want for my life, for my daughter, for my relationship. Thus forth, if I do not come to you and establish that peerage, that mentee to mentorship relationship, whatever it looks like, I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear it. That being said, one ought to seek out kind of characters they want in their story, people who you want around you, and be like, okay, this person's cool, got a banging personality, but am I going to help them? Are they going to help me in my little adventure? Here is adventure. Carl Jung, look him up. Yeah, I want you to be aware of what you read, what you watch, what you consume. I want you to take some time to reflect and look at your life, reflect and be like, ooh, what is the story I've been living in? Yeah, because you'll find the answer in the dissatisfaction, I think, of where you're at that time. you know? So, yeah. Know your story. Read good stories. Author your own story.
Hello.
Hi. And that's the end of the video. Love you.